Hello and welcome to my video on braid out on transitioning hair. This is the look that I'll be speaking about and showing you how to do. This is my go-to look for transitioning. I've been transitioning for about 2 years. The leave-in conditioner that I'm using today is the Kinky Curly Knot Today. The oil that I'll be using is the Jojoba Oil by Now Solutions, and the cream that I'll be using is Camille Rose Naturals Revitalizing Hair Smoother. For the braids, I'll be using Frizz-Free Curl Mousse, water, and perm rods, the 1/16 inch and the 1/4 inch perm rods. So first I start with my hair. I washed and conditioned my hair. I did do a deep conditioner this time around. I don't always do that, but today I did decide to do that. I part my hair into 4 different sections and I detangled. The leave-in conditioner Not Today by Kinky Curly is great with detangling, but sometimes I do need a little extra. This time I didn't in the video, but if I do, then I feel free to spray that in my hair as well. So what I'm doing is I'm going like part by part. I'm doing one product at a time so that each product has an opportunity to penetrate through my hair before I add the next product. So right here you can see that I'm applying the leave-in conditioner and detangling as I go, and then putting the hair back into the clip on each part. I'm then going to go to the oil and then do that with the cream. Like I said, I do it separately. If I'm in a rush, sometimes I'll put all 3 products together at the same time per part, but I do feel like it lasts a little longer and I have better results when I do one product at a time with one part at a time. So that is what I'm doing here. Also making sure that I'm keeping the ends in the clip because my hair does tend to dry out when I'm doing this if I take too long, or if I just clip it up any kind of way and don't care how I'm doing it, which is why I'm braiding it back up before I put it in the clip. Now for the braiding part, I did go ahead and do the back already before the video so that I wouldn't bore you with this video, but pretty much what I did is I made a back part and then I made 2 front parts, and what I did was I split the parts that I made into 2, and then I did those 2 into 2. So as you can see here, this is the front half. And I put it into 2, and then now I'm doing 2 braids in one part and 2 braids in another. I'm spraying a little bit of water because my hair did get a little bit dry while I was making the video because I was trying to take my time, and I don't like it to be dry because I feel like it shows once I take the braids out. So I do spray it a little bit so that the hair does remain damp. I pump about 3 pumps of the mousse into my hair, and then comb it through, make sure that it's through, and then I start to braid. So as you can see here, I'm doing the braid. When I get towards the end of a braid, I do comb the ends just because that's the permed part. For whatever reason, it just doesn't mesh right when I'm braiding, so I do comb it before I put the roller on it. Then I roll it a little bit, pretty much on the part that's still permed. Depending on how long you want the curls to be, or the braid out to be, like you can not roll the rollers up as high, but I tend to do it just a couple of times just to get the permed part so that it's not straight at all. So I'm going to continue doing this. Like I said, I'm going to make 2 braids per every half part that I did. So like this first half is going to be 4 braids. In the back I did a little bit more. I have a big head, so in the back I did 6 braids per part, 6 braids in the back. So I did 3 in the bottom, 3 on the top, rather than 2 in the bottom, 2 on the top. Did the same thing, spray it with water, make sure it's combed through, put about 3 pumps of the mousse on there, and then begin doing a braid. I don't get fancy with the braids. I am not a braider, I'm not a hairstylist in the slightest, so I'm just doing the braids any kind of way, pretty much in the plaits that you can find on a kindergartner's head. And then I make sure I comb the ends, and then I put the perm rods on. Reminder that depending on how far up you put the perm rods, that means how tight the braids are going to be or the twists are going to be, so it will come out a lot tighter and a lot shorter looking if you put the perm rods up too high. So I try not to do them too much, just eliminating the perm part so that I don't have two straight ends at the bottom of my hair. So once I finish putting in the braids and putting in the rollers, I'm going to make sure everything is smooth. There's no extra product all over my hair. I'm going to put a scarf on just to keep the braids flat, and then I'm going to put a bonnet on. Now, if I have the time, then I'm just going to go to sleep, and then when I wake up, I'll take the braids out, or sometimes I'll sit under a hair dryer for an hour and a half to 2 hours before taking them out. It really doesn't matter. Get the same result. So the next morning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bonnet off, take the scarf off, and then I'm going to take the rollers out of each braid first, making sure that I get all of them. A lot of times some of them fall out in my sleep, which is fine because I'm not trying to get curls per se. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some oil on my hands. I usually use coconut milk, but really you can use any kind of oil that your heart desires. Then I'm going to make sure I spread it on there just to prevent frizzing. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them out piece by piece. So I did the back already before the video, so I'm just going to take them out, making sure I'm not putting my fingers through the pieces of the braid, but more so pulling them apart rather than combing through them. So that way I'm keeping the curl pattern while also preventing frizz. A lot of times I do still end up with frizz just because I'm rushing, so I do try to give myself about 45 minutes. I've learned that 30 minutes just doesn't cut it, and I will have frizzy hair if I'm rushing to get out of the door and trying to get these braids out of my hair, which is why I like to keep the braids not too small so that I do have the time and the opportunity to take the braids out without having to add an extra hour to my daily routine. So I'm going to do this with each braid, literally taking my time, spreading the pieces of the braid out. And then once I'm done doing that, then, I kind of just style it the way I want it to look. So once all the braids are out, then I'm just going to fluff them. I don't do the pick at the roots method. I just kind of fluff it the way I want. I'll flip my hair over or whatever, and then you have a braid out. And this usually lasts me for a couple of days as long as I don't go to the gym. So there you have it, and this is the end result of the braid out.